What's going on, guys? This is Social Science Simplified, and welcome back to today's video. Today is Saturday, November 12th, 2022, and today's video we are going to be assessing the Senate races for the midterm elections that were held last Tuesday. It's been 4 days since the election, and only one race remains uncalled. Well, Alaska has gone to a ranked choice runoff between Lisa Murkowski and Kelly Tshibaka, both of whom are Republicans. So really, the only information we're going to get from Alaska is whether Lisa Murkowski, who is more of a moderate centrist Republican, or Kelly Tshibaka, who is a hard-right supporter of the former president, will win the election in Alaska. The Democrat does not really have a chance in Alaska. So Alaska has not been called yet, but it will be won by a Republican. Georgia has advanced to a December 6th runoff, so about 3.5 weeks away from the Georgia runoff here. And the two candidates who advanced were Raphael Warnock, who garnered 49.4% of the vote in the general election, and Herschel Walker, the Republican challenger, who had 48.5% of the vote in the general election. Both of them will advance to a runoff, and I'll get more into that later. I'm even going to do a separate video on that. But today what we're going to be doing is assessing the situation, how the Senate races went. So right now, the Republicans are at 49 and the Democrats are at 49 because it's already been determined that a Republican is going to win Alaska. The only state that remains uncalled is the state of Nevada, where Republican former Attorney General Adam Laxalt leads incumbent Democratic Senator Catherine Cortez Masto by 0.1 percentage points and roughly 800 votes. And the votes that have been coming in have been breaking for Catherine Cortez Masto. And if you look at Predict It up here, which party will win the Nevada Senate race, and Democratic has been going up pretty linearly, but pretty rapidly as well. So if you look at November 7th, the Republican Adam Laxalt had a 2/3 chance of winning. Then November 8th, Catherine Cortez Masto, a little bit over 50%. Almost 70% November 9th, and when I say percent, obviously it's in money, but it's out of a dollar, so you can make the conversion to percentages. 10th of November, 2 days ago, 85% chance, and yesterday, 97% chance of Catherine Cortez Masto winning the election in Nevada, winning re-election. And so now if we look at my Senate prediction for this year, I got a lot wrong, and I'll admit that. My prediction was not very accurate. And then if you look at what actually happened, obviously Nevada remains uncalled. That's probably going to be tilt Democrat. And I'd say my best prediction was in the state of Georgia. I predicted that Raphael Warnock would win with a lean margin of victory. The caveat on that being that he would win in the runoff. And that's what I think will happen. I think he will win by over a point in the runoff. Like I said, I've changed the margins. The only margins I've changed is instead of tilt being anything less than 2%, now it's less than 1%. So I predicted that Raphael Warnock would win by over a point, albeit in a runoff. And I still believe that will be the case. Like I said, separate video on that. But looking at states like Pennsylvania, John Fetterman won by 4 points in Pennsylvania. And looking at that, John Fetterman pretty much outperformed Joe Biden in every single county in Pennsylvania. Like Chester County, 0.5 points more Republican, 0.9. He outperformed Joe Biden in Erie County, in Carbon County, and Bucks County, Philadelphia County. He outperformed Biden in every county that he needed to win that race. So, looking at that, obviously I got Pennsylvania wrong. And Pennsylvania will be a pickup for the Democratic Party. And I believe that Nevada will be a hold for the Democratic Party. So, looking at that, it looks like the Democrats are going to win the Senate. At least 50-50, if not 51-49. Obviously, we won't know the results from Georgia until December 6th when the runoff election occurs. But as far as Nevada goes, I believe that within the next 24 hours, that race will get called for Catherine Cortez Masto. Pretty much as soon as she takes a lead. it's going to be pretty obvious that Adam Laxalt is not going to come back and that Catherine Cortez Masto will win re-election in the state of Nevada. So now, looking at the actual margins of victory, and for the sake of simplicity, let's characterize Nevada as tilt Democratic, which is what I think it will be, and Georgia as lean Democratic, and then comparing it to the projected margins of victory that I had. Obviously, in the Northeast, there's a little inconsistency. And in traditionally safe Democratic states, you look at states like Illinois, New York, those I projected to be like 17 points in Illinois for Tammy Duckworth. She won by 14. Not a huge difference. But in New York, Chuck Schumer was projected to win with over 60% of the vote, and it ended up being 56 to 43. Which is pretty remarkable given the fact that, one, Chuck Schumer is the majority leader of the Senate and a long-time incumbent, and then you get more into the fact that, well, maybe Kathy Hochul did not perform as well. Kathy Hochul is the Democratic governor of New York, and she only won her re-election bid by 5 points. And that is what dragged down a lot of the candidates in New York, if you look at some of the House races, and honestly the Senate race too. But Chuck Schumer did end up winning, albeit only by 13 points. That was one of the bigger shockers of the night for me, I guess. I projected him to win by over 20 points, especially given his power in the Senate and the fact that he's the majority leader and is able to pass legislation that is beneficial to New Yorkers. Generally, if a candidate is the majority leader, holds a position of power within that House of Congress, they're able to get more legislation beneficial to their constituents and win by larger margins, and I expected that to happen in New York, and it didn't. And now, looking at, these are my predictions, and then I'm just going to switch this tab. This is what actually happened. Obviously, Nevada still remains uncalled, but I project it will be tilt Democratic. Looking at a lot of that, this was not a red wave, and everyone's been saying that. This was a red ripple at the most, and honestly, in the Senate, you wouldn't call it a red anything because it looks like the Democrats are going to make a gain. Mark Kelly won Arizona by over 5 points, which is quite remarkable considering Biden carried the state of Arizona in 2020, which was a year favoring the Democratic Party, by under a point. Mark Kelly won by around 2 points. And in 2022, which was a year that was supposed to be a year favoring the Republican Party, and the generic ballot showed that, Mark Kelly carried Arizona by 5 points. And that really goes back to a lot of people are saying candidate quality. The Democrats in 4 key states that they needed to win, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada. And you could throw New Hampshire in there too, and you could also throw in Ohio, Wisconsin, North Carolina. But we're just going to talk about those first 4 that I mentioned for the sake of simplicity. The Democrats all had formidable candidates. And out of the Republican candidates on those 4 states, which were the 4 that were projected to decide control of the chamber, only one had ever won statewide, and that was Adam Laxalt in Nevada. And then in 2018, he lost the statewide bid for governor, so maybe not the strongest candidate, but albeit a strong candidate, especially compared to Blake Masters, Herschel Walker, and Mehmet Oz, who had never run for political office before, and who, quite frankly, paid for that by losing the election. Once again, it's a very difficult job to run for office, let alone run for a statewide office, having never run for public office before, never held public office before. So, long story short, it looks like the Democrats are going to maintain control of the Senate. They are going to, it looks like they'll hold on to Nevada. Looks like they'll hold on to Georgia. Even if you look at, predict it, here, it should be somewhere around here, which party will win the Georgia Senate race, and Democratic, and that's gone up pretty much, but it started to plateau a little bit. but it looks like 74 cents, so around a 75% chance of winning for Raphael Warnock. And the way it looks like right now is that the Democrats are going to hold all of their seats, including Nevada. Once again, I expect that to get called sometime within the next 24 hours. The Republicans are not going to flip any seats, and they're going to lose one seat. The Democrats flipped Pennsylvania. John Fetterman defeated Mehmet Oz in the Senate race in Pennsylvania, and this will allow the Democrats to have a 51-49 majority in the Senate. I'm going to be making a separate video on the House of Representatives. I'm going to get back to daily uploads. I'm really enjoying this. I got a new recording space which will allow me to upload more frequently, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to bring you guys more content. But long story short, assessing the state of the Senate races, obviously, and this map was pretty much as far as the consensus goes. This was very similar to the consensus map on 270 to win. Obviously, I made a few changes to it, but very similar to that map. Everyone thought the Republicans were going to flip Nevada, flip Nevada, hold Pennsylvania. But they didn't. They lost Pennsylvania. The Democrats flipped Pennsylvania, and it looks like the Democrats are going to hold on to Nevada. So this is what the actual margins of victory were. And it looks like the Democrats are going to not only hold on to, but also expand their Senate majority this year, which is quite interesting. You can blame candidate quality, you can blame any number of factors, you can blame the Dobbs decision. But it looks like the Democrats ran a very, very, very successful campaign on the Senate side, across the board. And you look at Tim Ryan, he only lost by 6.5 points in Ohio to J.D. Vance, in a state that Donald Trump won by 8 points. You look at Mike Franken in Iowa, and he only lost by, I think, 13 points. And I'll check on that right now. He lost by 12 points to Chuck Grassley, who has pretty much never been reelected with anything less than 60% of the vote. You look at Evan McMullen in Utah. These challengers to the Republican candidates ran very good campaigns, even if they lost. And you look at some of the candidate quality on the Republican side, and they did not have the proper campaign infrastructure. And you look at Maggie Hassan. She won by 10 points in New Hampshire. That was a pretty wide margin of victory, considering that Biden only carried the state by 7 points in 2020. And you look at, well, okay, the National Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, the NRSCC, had to funnel money into states like Ohio and Wisconsin to prop up J.D. Vance and Ron Johnson, and they had to funnel money into Arizona to prop up Blake Masters, into Georgia to prop up Herschel Walker, and that left a lot of money away from states that they would normally target, like New Hampshire, where Don Bolduc was defeated by Maggie Hassan by 10 points. And Republicans did run some good candidates, like Ted Budd, U.S. Representative, ran a pretty successful campaign. The polling was close, but he was always favored to win, and he did end up winning by 4 points. You look at Wisconsin, and that was a swingy one. The polling went back and forth on that one. Ron Johnson ended up winning against Democrat Mandela Barnes. But then you look at some states like Ohio, Arizona, Nevada. I'm not going to include Nevada in that. Arizona, Ohio, and Pennsylvania and Georgia, where the Republican candidates had never held public office before, and you look, that's where the Democrats really capitalized and ran good campaigns and won as a result of that. And that's why the Democrats are going to not only hold the Senate, but expand their majority. And thank you for watching, guys. I hope this video was informational. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe. I am back with the daily uploads, looking to bring you guys more content. There'll be at least one video a day, maybe two. But it looks like the Democrats are not only going to hold their Senate majority and expand it, and I know I've said that 3 or 4 times, but that's the way things are looking, the state of the Senate elections right now. So thank you for watching, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe. I hope you all have a great day.